Welcome to Workshop Wednesday at Okanagan Lavender and Herb Farm. We're in peak lavender season now, so we wanted to show you the right time to pick your lavender. Today we're going to make a wreath. We wanted to just point out to you here, this lavender, this kind of bloom, sort of half open, half closed, that's your perfect bloom for cutting. So what would not be ready are these ones here. So nothing is open on them yet. They have color, but their scent is not very well developed yet. So any that are like this with the open blooms are perfect for cutting. You can see we've got a pink lavender here too. You can use them for all sorts of things also. Their scent is not as strong as the darker colored purple ones, but they're nice to incorporate in a wreath. I'm cutting lavender for my wreath today. I'm only going to use scissors because I don't need that much. I want 3 nice bundles of lavender. So I'm just going to come down to the base of the stem, take my scissors, and just cut until I have a nice size bundle. Elastics are great to bundle your lavender with because the stems will shrink as they dry. So something like a twist tie is going to, your lavender is going to fall out of the twist tie. So elastics are perfect. So I want to show you a trick for your lavender that if you want to enjoy it in your garden, but you still want some lavender to do things with, if you just come along this outside edge and cut your bundles with your scissors, you can cut all the way around the bottom, just like that. Leave everything on top so you can still enjoy it in your garden, and you'll have lots of lavender to make a wreath with. So why don't we go up to the classroom and we'll show you how to make a wreath. Today I'm going to show you how to do a lavender wreath, and we've got some simple supplies to do it with. I made a wreath base out of willow. I need some jute twine. And this one is just a 2-ply heavy jute twine just from your local hardware store. With the twine, I'm going to use it to bind the lavender to the base, and I'm going to pull it out and take an arm's length of twine. It's a nice size to work with. You're not tripping over too long of a tail. Some important things to remember when you're making a lavender wreath. So some lavenders are very fragile when they dry, and they might have good color. Like this is a beautiful lavender called Folgate, stunning fresh, but when it dries, it's very fragile. So if I made a wreath out of it, if my arm hit it as I walked by, it would just fall on the ground. So I don't want to use Folgate in a wreath. I have another lavender. This one is called Annette. It has beautiful dark color, and it has a really sturdy flower. But you can see it has a stem that snaps. So if I'm pulling with my twine, it tends to break the Annette. So have to be really careful if you use something like that. And I have other ones to use. Then I just wanted to show you some pinks are quite nice in a wreath. So you can see I have 2 different ones here. This one has a darker pink color. When it dries, it's like a gray burgundy color. When this one dries, it's like a really insipid gray color. So this one is called Rosea, and I wouldn't use it in a wreath. And this one is Melissa Pink, and it's quite lovely in a wreath. So what I'm going to do, you want to pick 2 big handfuls of lavender to do a wreath the size that I'm doing. So this is one of them. And then I've got a little technique that I love to use. I'm going to take 5 stems of lavender, and I've got them all laid out in front of me here. This is going to make doing the wreath really, really fast. So I'm going to take my twine, and I'm going to tie it on. I tie it on at the end of the wreath where the willow ended, and it just makes it nice and firm. This wreath is not really thick, but it doesn't need to be thick because the lavender stems are going to build up the wreath base as we go. So I have my end tied on the wreath, and when I do my wreaths, I work counterclockwise. I'm going to take my group of 5 stems, and I'm just going to take about the length of the palm of my hand. That's how far I want it sticking out. So if you can just do a measurement like that. You're going to keep that uniform all the way through your wreath. So you lay the stems on the wreath, and you bring your twine around. Then I take another group of my 5 stems, and I'm going to make an X. And I'm going to bind that. I'm not knotting, I'm just holding as I go. So the beginning of your wreath also is going to be the end of your wreath, and you're going to come all the way around. Stems have to tuck in here, so I don't want this V here. So only on this one, I'm going to take another bundle and put it right there so that it's a nice solid finish. And then I can tell I've got lots of room to tuck those final stems underneath. All right, now you're just going to get a rhythm. So remember, you're following the face of the clock. Every hour you want to do your stem. So if this was 12 o'clock, I'm working backwards. I'm going to go to 11 o'clock, just a little bit down, and bind it. Make my X. So this one will be at the same height as the other one. And I'm going to take another one. So I'm going to, there I was. Now I'm going to pull it down just a little bit. You can see I've got these nice X's here. Another one on this side. Now sometimes as you go, you'll notice there's a gap happening, especially at the beginning of your wreath. So you see I have a bit of a gap here. So if that happens, I'll just take a little bundle and tuck it in there and cover that up. Anytime that you need to take a break, because sometimes your hand gets cramp in it, just take your twine and pull a loop through. Just snug. And then I can put it down on the table. Now, as you're pulling your twine, your lavender's shifting. This is fresh lavender, so at the end of my wreath, I'm going to come back and I can move things into the place that I want to before they dry. So I'm just going to keep working, and you'll see how fast a wreath can be created. You can see that I don't have very much twine left, so it's time for me to tie another piece on. So I'm going to do that nice secure loop where I just pull the twine up. I already cut my twine. And now you have to do a double knot here because you don't want it to slip undone on you. Make sure when you... That's nice and snug. So here I have a nice long piece again. And then again, I'm at the end of the twine, so I'm going to do a loop through. And I'm I'm halfway through my wreath and I'm nearly done my first bundle. So I'm going to get my other bundle ready. One thing you're going to notice about my lavender, see how some of the open petals have gone brown? We just had rain last night, so this lavender is wet. When my wreath is dry, those little brown shriveled up petals are just going to fall out, and I'll show you how you make them fall out all at once when we're done. Okay, so now my hands have had a good rest from holding the wreath so tightly, and I'm ready to start again. I'm going to take another arm's length of twine, tie it onto my end, so as my wreath gets bigger, these stems are going to start inhibiting how I can move around. So what I'm going to start doing, these are fabulous scissors. They're called florist scissors. You can get them from Lee Valley Tools, and we'll give you a link in the description for that. You get 4 sets of these scissors in different sizes, and I couldn't live without them in my garden. Okay, so I'm ready to start on my wreath again, and here we go. So right here I'm going around a corner, and I'm actually going to do 2 to the outside now and just 1 to the inside until I get around this curve. That lets me do the circle better. So there's 2 in the same direction there, and just 1 to the inside. And here again, just as this circle is turning, I'm going to do 2 to the outside again, just until I get past it. And another one. And then my string is short again, so I'm going to loop it. Pull that nice and snug so you can see how nice and thick the base gets as you're working, and the stems have just become part of this wreath to give it substance. And again, you can see how these are going to start bothering me, so I'm going to snip them off. So I'm looping off because now every time I do a bundle, those stems are going to bother me. So what I'm going to do is shorten my stems. So they're just, just longer than my palm. And that'll be easier for me to work with. So the end of your wreath is actually the most difficult part, because now I'm going to have to start lifting this up and tucking my things underneath. Okay, I'm just going to loop this. And I'm almost at the end, and I think I probably need about 12 more bunches to get ready. So this little closure here is going to be the most challenging part of your wreath. And don't get frustrated. Just remember to lift this up, tuck those ends under, and take a break if it's frustrating you. So remember, shorter stems make it easier. Now I'm going to loop here and trim those stems. So I want to be able to put this down. And I'm going to just trim all these ends to a length that I don't have to do that with. I'm going to tie on extra string because I don't want to get to the end of the wreath and have just a little bit to work with. So I'd rather have too much than not enough and snip it off at the end. All right. And to tie it off, you just do one of those loops again, but you do it twice. So, okay. You sort of manhandle it there at the end, but so it should be difficult to tell the start and the beginning and the end. I'm just going to snip those ends off. Okay. Now, what the beauty of doing a fresh lavender wreath is it's very malleable. So I'm going to stand above my wreath. And I'm going to look down at it, and I'm going to fluff out areas that are too crowded. You can move things around. Now, I think that's going to be pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry this for a week. I'm going to put it in, if you can put it in a dark room or just a room with the curtains closed where sunlight is not on your wreath, it's going to dry quickly. It's not going to fade. Remember I told you all these little brown bits? They're going to fall out just like that. So once it's dry, I'll pick up my wreath. I hold it firmly at the back, and I just hit this hand with this hand. You just go like that a few times. All those open petals will fall out, and you'll just be left with this beautiful lavender wreath. Now, it's purple today. When it dries, it's going to be blue. Lavender rarely stays in the purple shades when it's dry, but it's going to be beautiful and fragrant. I'm going to leave this string until it's dry because I'm going to make a loop to hang it on the wall. A couple of things to know. Clean your wreath with a blow dryer. Just take the blow dryer on a heat setting. It'll blow all the dust off. It will also reactivate the scent because the scent of your lavender is in the oil glands in the buds. You don't need to spray it. People always ask, do you need to spray it with hairspray? We never spray our wreaths with anything. Hang them away from direct sunlight. If you have them somewhere where a ceiling fan or there's a door that's opening and closing, what you're going to find is the scent lifts off. Every so often, it's not really strong, it's just lovely. Occasionally you'll walk in the room and think, oh, it smells like lavender, and the next time it won't. But your wreath should last for years, unless you put it in direct sunlight, and then you'll get about a year out of it. Thanks so much for watching our wreath making workshop today. If you enjoyed yourself, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Happy to answer any questions you might have in the comments below. And get out there and pick your lavender now. It's the perfect season for doing a wreath. So enjoy. Happy wreath making.